In front of you, or you got, hopefully, the handout of the PART system, okay? And it's, as you see, there, hold it up like a stewardess on a plane there. Yeah, it's not, you know, you can take it to court, but it's a lovely thing. And the preparedness and active response tools, things that you can do, thank you so much, to, because I couldn't remember it, to help prep yourself for all of these things. And within that, without hitting everything in great depth, you just, as your producer, you need to know, again, if your employees have training, where they got it, and if not, you need to help, whether they're union or non-union. Someone asked me during the break there about, well, what if it's a non-union gig? An employer is still required to have safety training for their employees, whether they're union or non-union. The unions help provide that. They go a long way, but they still, as a non-union employee, have to have some type of basic safety training. Producer needs to figure out what that is and help provide that for them, okay? Figure out when they need specialized training, like scuba divers or welders or stuff like that. Is they a certified welder or somebody who does it on the weekends, you know, on their animals or something? You don't want to hire those people. You got to provide the proper safety equipment, a plethora of which you'll see over here, the personal protective equipment that we talked about, PPE, which is basically your last stage of alleviating a bad situation. OSHA says it wants you to take administrative actions first, and then engineering actions to fabricate something or make it safe. And if all that fails, go to your PPE, because we're on a temporary basis on a film set. They can't re-engineer the forest out there, so they're going to provide you with respirators or goggles and things like that. But if you really follow the law on things like respirators, your employees who are trained on that are supposed to be refit every year. For hearing protection, you're supposed to have audio testing every year, and that gets documented to see if over a period of time they're losing their hearing. That works in a factory, you know, if you're there 20 years, not in a movie. What's the best way to lose your hearing on a movie? Listening to Michael Bay, you're right. Even when they mix them, the sound, we were 3 theaters down and you hear Transformers 17 going, and all the sound bunnies are wearing hearing protection because he dials everything past 11 into like 22. But gunshots, right? Now, OSHA has standards for how much hearing protection you need for a particular decibel level, for how long you can be exposed to it, and it's a very complicated system. But a gunshot, that's enough to lose your hearing like that, and it may not come back. And a lot of people will lose hearing over our lifetime. As we get older, you're just going to lose less.
And talking about the PPE, there's different PPE for different things, certain situations. So that's part of a risk assessment. We can't eliminate the high sounds. We can do it in different ways. And some of the things you talk about eliminating, there's a special effects crew out there that have created prop guns that shoot out a flash and do all the motion, doesn't make a sound, to eliminate the sound.
Let me just touch on this. I thought this was an interesting slide of the comparison. Something that I was collaborating with these guys on. But I thought it was interesting, especially something that Ed was saying, where it's true. As producers, you get faulted for everything, even though you're trying to do the right thing. So I wanted to kind of point out, you know, do your due diligence. Definitely from the producer side, make sure that you're doing everything you can to hire the experienced crew or training them up or providing what they need. But on the crew side, they have responsibilities too. My two heads not, because I feel like I'm in that situation quite a bit. So just to be clear, the employees have responsibilities to provide a safe environment as well. So I just like that comparison. I thought it was good for a producer audience to understand that it's not always on you, but don't forget to empower your crew to make sure they're communicating.
And you'll notice they're required to follow all company safety policies. So when you hand them earplugs, you know, being on the camera team a lot of the time, I had a camera assistant who just said, okay, they're going to fire at us. It's quarter loads, which are, you know, very small blank loads, and said, well, those are for wimps. You know, that's not so bad, so I don't need to wear my plugs. I want to hear the cues. I want to hear the actor's line, whatever. It goes off, and the director starts screaming, I can't see the muzzle flash, so I need something bigger. They go to full loads. So now it's changed instantaneously into the next take. Well, now a full load will rip your eardrums out. So you need to make sure that they have these. And the prop people or armor will go around and distribute these to people and say, here are your plugs. And if they choose not to wear them, that's on them. And in this instance, one of them chose not to. And all of a sudden I look and there's blood and wax coming out of his ear because his eardrum had been burst by a full load 10 feet away from our camera placement. And then he goes to the producer to complain, to say, hey, I got injured on your set. And of course, he can't hear the response of the producer, who's just laughing at him in most cases, because he didn't wear the damn protection. So things will change up from take to take. So you want to make sure that they are covered. And when you give them that thing, they are obligated to wear them, okay? You can't force them in their ears with an ice pick. We quit doing that back in the 80s. But you can say, look, if you don't want to wear it, you don't work on my set anymore, okay? You want to remove them from the danger and help save them from themselves in some instances.
And it's important to know, because you've informed the employees of how you want things done, they're not doing it, you fire them, realize that the union is obligated to defend them. They don't always like that they're defending somebody who's not doing the right thing, but they're obligated to do it. But if you've told the people what their obligations are, they're supposed to follow the rules and not doing it, firing them is an appropriate response.